Hey guys, so we're gonna do a little studio tour. All the videos on the channel so far are like 2 studios ago, so they're all out of date. We've updated a lot of the things that we talked about previously and introduce you to what we're doing. So let's just get right into it. So this is the studio when it focuses. This is the studio. We're primarily focusing right now on casting. So a lot of this is casting oriented, but we do fabricate sometimes. So I apologize in advance that some of the lighting is going to be really bad. These big windows, they don't really help, and it doesn't help that, you know, we're in a Canadian winter right now, so there's a lot of light going all over the place. So I'll do my best, but bear with me, okay? Alright, so we'll start over here. This is an antique rolling mill that I restored. The only information I have is that it's by a company called F.P. Kurtz from around 1890-ish. It's hard to say exactly, but it's mostly cast iron. I had the rollers redone. They're all nice and shiny now, but they were pitted like crazy, like totally unusable. And I don't use this thing very much, but considering what I saved it from, it's not bad to have. This is my little chemical cabinet, and this is a 20-ton hydraulic press that I built. We don't really see too much use for it yet, but I guarantee we will figure out something. And yeah, I built this from my own design. It wasn't built from plans or anything. If anyone's interested in that, let me know and I can help you out. This is a ring winder that I made as well, out of steel. Just from an old drill and some bar and some little bit of welding. And this is just some knitting needles that go with that to wind rings. This is the newest addition to the studio, ultrasonic cleaner. Haven't actually used it yet, doesn't actually have anything in it yet, but it'll be a welcome addition seeing as how we're doing a lot of 3D printing nowadays. And the 3D printer we're going with uses it's a support material that's alcohol soluble, so we can put it in this and it'll clean the part really well, ready for casting. Moving on, this is our little polishing station. The steel box I built. This was my second version, and this post was for a Fordham flex shaft, which I sold recently. Never really used it. We're using Fordham polishing lathe. This is the little guy, as you can see, relative to my hand. The Balder ones, or the Red Wing Balder, the larger motors that literally just have a turn on, I find them to be a little bit intimidating. Like if you ever polished a chain, I know you're not supposed to, but like everyone does it. If you ever polish a chain and then it gets wrapped around the arbor, like it doesn't stop. It'll just try to rip your arm off. This one's got a nice variable speed, and it also has a fuse in the back. So if this ever did get caught up, it'll just stop, and then I replace the fuse, which kind of sucks, but it's a good safety feature. And then yeah, there's all the polishing stuff just in a heap. Nothing fancy about that. This is a pile of junk. Some waxes ready for casting. We're in the process of being ready for casting. This is a sword hilt. That's the pommel. This is for some silver. I'll show you the sword in a little bit. This is an older vulcanizer by Romanov. Seems to be pretty indestructible. I'm a pretty big fan of the vulcanizing process. It saves so much time, and to do it ourselves in-house, it makes a lot of sense. Remember this from the last video, one of the engraving ones, still same old drill press. Got a big mill vise that doesn't fit in it, but we're working on it. Some tools, a little bit of storage, junk generally. This is our tumbler, vulcanizing rubber,
These are some parts for a 2x72 belt grinder project that I'm building. It'll hopefully help de-wax or de-sprue some of the castings. And you know, 2x72 belts can go up to like 3,000 grit easily, so they're definitely high on my list. Little vacuum for cleaning, polishing. This was a Christmas gift from my mom. We were looking for a simple storage solution for, you know, keeping some of our silver valuables. And yeah, this was a little gun case or something for pistols, I think. So yeah, it works, and it's bolted to the bottom of this table, which I also built. It's very, very strong. You could probably park a car on top of this. This was 2 pieces, or actually it's 1 piece of face ply that's been cut in half and then screwed and glued together to laminate into this inch plus, I think it's 1.25 inch thick tabletop. And I've done that for all of the tables that I've built so far. But, sorry, back on track. Sorry, this is going to be some tricky lighting here. This is the workbench that I work most at these days. I built this built this at summer camp a while ago. Really, really like it. I'm going to just turn on this lamp. Maybe that'll help. Not really. Googly. Yeah, so this is where I do most of my work. Some saw blades on a magnet. Some drawings on a music stand. Leather catch for catching, at this point it's just a bunch of junk, but mostly silver for keeping. I've got the engraving regulator mounted to the bottom, and that goes to the air compressor over there. And then there's the Fordham flex shaft, pretty standard. A little wood vise for whenever I need it. Burrs. Electric wax pen. I use this so often that I don't know how I lived without it. I thought it would be a luxury item, but it's honestly like an essential for waxwork. This is a recent project that I finished. This is my take on a Benchmate from GRS. Focus. So these loosen off, and you can adjust pretty much any direction you want. And you set a ring in this thing here. And twist this. If I could do it one-handed, I'm not sure. There we go. Twist this, and that loosens off this vise that I managed to make. It's 2 springs with a bolt on the bottom, and then a bolt and then a nut in this thing. And when you tighten this down, it sucks everything in. And there's some leather glued on there. I literally just finished this, so I still have to kind of make it look pretty. Some of the glue on there is a little gunky. And there's an alternate extension arm for there. This one would be for like bezel setting. So if you want to eliminate this axis when you're trying to hammer straight down, this will just eliminate it entirely. So you still have the turn, and you can still go side to side, but you eliminate that. So yeah, pretty simple, but I'm very pleased with it. And then this is a little system that I developed for this bench. It was actually designed for the pana vise, so it matches the same triangular hole pattern right there. But I've used it for a lot of things. So this attaches via 2 thumb screws, and then just down here, you've seen this in a previous video. Sorry, it's all black. But this is the step, the shelf that I use for the block vise for when I do engraving. Sorry. Try different angle. Block vise. Engraving. There. And that sits in there as well. So yeah, there's a little standard bench pin. Nothing to shake a stick at. And then we'll move on. This is the soldering station. There's a little thrift pickle pot, pretty standard. This was the first version of that steel box that the polishing motor is in. This one's a little warpy, so I figured, you know, if it's going to have heat applied to it and it's going to warp, well, I really don't care. The extra fire brick, really handy to have. We set flasks on them if we need to, right under the ventilation. Talk about that in a minute. And yeah, we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4 third hands. So we're pretty well set up that way. We're using a Smith little torch. In my opinion, the Smith is one of the better torches that you can get. You know, that requires 2 gases. Some of the like the Orca, things like that, they're great for some things, but others you just need something bigger. So we're running oxypropane, a little 5-pound tank, costs like $5 to refill, and I think this tank is not the smallest oxygen, but it's like $60 to fill or something. And we go through these tanks like once every 6 months, 8 months or so. So it's very, very affordable. A bunch of milk crate storage. Still working on the storage. It's never ending. And yeah, some ingot molds. Nothing too fancy. And this is our casting machine itself. So this is, sorry again about the light, this is messed up. So this is the Kea caster from Arby. And it's a nice little machine. It's simple, but it does the job. We'll one day hopefully be upgrading to something bigger, more professional, something argon shielded, but you know, it's going to be like a car or a casting machine, so we'll see. So it's got the bell jar for debubbling, and that's the casting side for the flasks. We're doing all our metal melting with this, or most of the metal melting with this. The Kerr Electromelt 1 kilo, so it'll hold 1 kilo of gold, about 700 grams of silver, and I have yet to do bronze in it, but we'll see. I'm pretty happy with this unit so far. The graphite crucibles are surprisingly durable. As long as you keep it in an airtight area, which just means like keeping the top down when it's really hot, then the graphite doesn't seem to degrade as quickly, which is really nice. And this is our burnout oven, in very, very poor shape, as you can see, but it works. It's one of those, it's by Vigor, from like the 80s, 1980s, and it's just one of those things that doesn't break. So we've had to replace the element, but aside from that, like even though the lock is gone, it's held together by a bungee cord, it's leaking like crazy out the top, it still works really well. So I'm not likely going to replace it until it's totally dead with something a little bit newer. I'd actually like to retrofit it so I can get away from this, so I can get away from the infinity knob and actually have a proper digital setup. The kiln itself is sitting inside this steel case with a fairly standard kitchen hood kind of on top, and I cover all of this so that there's no fumes able to escape into the room, and it just goes straight out into the ventilation. Right there, up and out. And the ventilation also extends over to the soldering station. And then I've got one that goes over to the casting. So that sucks up any smoke and fumes. I apologize for the lighting. This is this is rough. So yeah. And then this is just a wood board wedged into the window. It's been blackened. And yeah, It might not work for everybody, but it works for us. So.
And this is a centrifuge casting machine, which we've actually sold. It'll be disappearing sometime soon. Currently it's storage, really. These are some tongs that I've forged for picking the flasks up out of the kiln. And I've, yeah, there's a few things in there. And then here in the middle of the room, we've got some more forging stuff. So this was a personal project. This is a stake anvil that I built out of some scrap. The body is all mild steel. It weighs about 50 pounds, but the top here, which was what kind of inspired the whole project, is actually from a rock crusher, and I've been told that it's made of AR 400. So there's nothing really better than that, except for AR 500, but whatever. And then we've got the blacksmith's post vise, good for holding stakes and stuff, whatever you need. It's set on this pedestal thing. It's got some wheels here, so it's kind of mobile, but only a little bit. This I built out of 2 pieces of I-beam welded together. If you found a piece of I-beam that was big enough, I'm sure one piece would work, but this one was pretty small, so. And then some 1/4-inch plate. And it does a great job, actually. I'm very pleased with this one. And there's some hammers, absolutely no particular order. This was the first tool that we bought. This is a Peter Wright anvil, 125-ish pounds. It's in a little bit of rough shape, but I mean, it's manageable. We got this before the whole forged and fire rush, and we got it, this and the vise, at a very good deal. So we'll see what happens to this guy. I'll probably just hold on to it because it's a piece of history. There's another little vise for holding some stakes and holding stuff in general. And yeah, oh, these are the display cases. We got them at a really good deal. We don't really have our studio open to the public, like for walk-in, as this is my house. But it's here. We take them to shows, things like that. Keep everything busy. Knife project, sword. I'm sure we'll see more of that later. So yeah, that's pretty much the whole studio. And I'm going to talk a little bit more in a sec. So yeah, that's the studio. Quick little overview. You can see a lot of this stuff is handmade. I really don't buy into the whole idea of having to buy everything if you're fully capable of making it. And I fully realize that not everyone's capable of making some of this stuff, but you know, it does help. I mean, just for example, this Benchmate thing I was talking about is like an $800 product that I didn't have to spend money on. Yes, I did have to spend my time on it, but time is cheaper than that. So anyway, if anyone has any questions about building their own stuff, I'm more than happy to help with that. I don't mind sending you, like, drawing up some plans. I don't really do drawings or anything, so I can't send you those, but I can help at the very least. I can give you measurements for stuff I've got to help you, or just ask. Okay, I'm pretty open. In the future, we will be doing more videos, more follow-up videos specifically. We've had a lot of questions about this. This was one of the more popular videos about the Andu engraving system. We're not sponsored by Andu. His name is An, actually. He's from Vietnam. He's a really nice guy. We chat frequently on Facebook. And yeah, you know, we're not sponsored, we're just helping him out. We may end up becoming a distributor for his tools depending on how his business works out. So we'll see where that goes. I'll do some more demo videos of how this is working out. I think it's been 2 years since I bought it, and happy to say that it's still working great. It's basically the same as out of the box. It's not a whole lot that can go wrong with it, to be honest. And yeah, so we'll hopefully see more videos in the future. We're not really sure where we want to go with the channel. We're looking to hopefully do some tutorials, but not really like how to make ring, more like process, step by steps. Doesn't really matter what the thing is, you can apply it to the process. So we'll see, not really sure. But hopefully we have an audience, hopefully you guys are interested. Always looking for comments, always looking for suggestions. If anyone wants to see anything specific, more than willing to help with that. So just let me know, and hopefully we'll see you in the future.